proposal, an interim government headed by President and Prime Minister, or alternatively by Chairman of Sudanese Christian Democratic Party, SCDP, by Manyang Parek Von Chiparek, Chairman, Sudanese Christian Democratic Party, Republic of South Sudan. As Chairman of Sudanese Christian Democratic Party, SCDP, I wish to categorically state that our party has unbeatable interest in the resolutions of the crisis in our beloved country, Sudan, besides having worthwhile vision to redeem our country from the current challenges and steer it forward in peace, unity, and political, social, and economic development. This is right time to establish an interim national unity government, which has to be negotiated by the conflicting parties. However, the above-shown party's flag has a prominent blue center representing the River Nile. You can see the white waves. The color rings around the two keys are significant also. Black for the black Africans, green for our green vegetations and forests, yellow for our gold and other mineral sources, and purple for Christian reflection, and white for peace. The two keys serve as symbol for unlocking our democracy and opening the gates to our Christian values, norms, and action based on them. Indeed, Sudanese Christian Democratic Party, SCDP, is committed to build a nation that is God-fearing, adherence to God's accepted ways of life, and to promote good African traditional norms and practices that tally with Christian norms and ethics. Hence, as Sudanese, we all will be able to shed the burdens and traumas of the suffering of war and violence, to build a nation that is tolerant of her diverse culture, does promote unity and respect with love among our people in all their diversity. There has to be sustainable peace in our society with the protection of human rights of all citizens. A democratic system of governance in our beloved country. There has to be sustainable development and local industry in rebuilding our country. In line with this vision, the SCDP is pleased to put forward a proposal that may likely help bring about some useful compromise and reconciliation in the meantime and durable solution in the future. In my capacity as the founding chairman of SCDP and also the voice of my people of South Sudan, called Sudanese Christian State, one is honored to have the opportunity to strongly hear out my viewpoint on the political settlements of the conflict. Such a viewpoint is spelled out in some clear detail below. This type of interim government should be headed by the President and Prime Minister as the heads of the executive arm of government. All may come from the SPLM as the legitimate body that was democratically elected by the people. This should be the case in spite of their glaring shortcomings. In case of failure on their part, the country cannot be held hostage to such a failure. What should happen in the interest of our nation is that an independent personality around whom some consensus can then be struck as the heads of the interim government for a term of 3 years. Only after that can elections, census, and permanent constitution be conducted so that our people could avoid disruptive crises created by these things. If these demands cannot be satisfactorily fulfilled, the SPLM must step aside to leave way for others who can implement them. In order to move forward in a positive way, this interim government must be based on a federal form of governance, which shall be applicable only in 6 states in the whole country. And the aim of federal system is to divide the power between the national government and the state governments, and that bounds all the individual states together under one national government. Ramchal shall be the seat or capital city of the central and government. These states shall be as shown below. Jonglei and Eastern Equatoria, Tapping State, capital Torit, as the honor of him which has to be acknowledged as a veteran from the Tuko. Upper Nile State, capital Malakal. Lake States and Central Equatoria, Equatoria State, capital Juba. Bentiu, Toinj and Western Equatoria, Rainbow State, capital Yambio. Abyei, Gogrial and Wau, Barakazal State, capital Dwao, northern Barakazal and Raja, Nyamleli State, capital Awil. However, in order to move away from emphasis and reduce the unnecessary friction, a new course should be charted. We propose Sudan Nile to be adopted as the new name during and after the interim period. It does confirm our African identity of being Black Africans who depends on the great river Nile as our lifeline to the neighboring countries. Our people have been depending on it for their survival with other animals that died along it, and God transformed underground into oil, which has become now our economical power, our newborn country. Clearly, Sudan Nile is the center of gravity for the union of the 6 states as one nation, which binds our souls and spirit as brothers and sisters in Christ. These states reflect national unity, not based on tribes or policy of divide and rule in the past. On the other hand, in terms of economical aspect, all would share the resources available in their states, such as oil and other minerals, agricultural products and tea, coffee and fruits. This does also include livestock, fishery, timber and mahogany. In this case, all states shall rely on themselves as their resources would come from different areas in the same state for their development and general progress in the whole country. In addition, we should also bear in mind that our country is a Christian nation based on federal system of government with the least elements of secularism. So to kick religion out of the country, then we are forcing our children to believe in so-called facts. By this, the task is to work out the relations between church and state and between religion and politics, which require all the wisdom we can summon. In both cases, we should be prepared to deal with complexities, ambiguities, and overlapping realms in which practical discernment must have workable principles to guide us that are as compatible with the fundamental constitutional imperatives as human reasons can devise. The conflict that erupted within the party was not so much about substantial issues, then about personal differences, which became exaggerated and personalized up to a point where eruption was the ultimate result. This combination of distrust and our right outburst undermine working relations and create camps within the party, leading to confrontation and often fight between comrades of the same party. Obviously, what began as a party issue came to affect and engulf the whole nation, triggering concerns of many stakeholders, including SCDP. It is true the conflict has pushed the world's newest nation to the edge of catastrophe. We believe this cannot be the way to peace and unity, leave alone managing movement that is yet to be transformed into a party and the affairs of a young nation, country as ours. Seen in this context, an interim government headed by SCDP will make not only news but peace, both of hearts, minds and physical body. We will be able to put in place policies, rules and regulations that must be put in place and implemented by all. Time for tit-for-tat, hatred and tribal politics of revenge, death and destruction would be things of the past under a government that is managed by SCDP and run on Christian and democratic values, norms, moral ethics and constitution. We live in a democratic society where the government does the will of the people as opposed to dictatorship, where government do what they want regardless of population need. Indeed, democracy accompanied by capitalism offers the best, most effective use of resources, and governments guided by those principles assure the best outcomes for our people and the whole population of the Sudan. More importantly, culture of hard work, good governance and responsible management, which must necessarily improve the people's lives, eliminate corruption, improve economic situation, provide services to our people, and accountability for our good and bad actions. Doing so will ensure peace, stability, and economic development in our nation. This is sure to be the best way to avoid unnecessary conflicts. rampant wars and uncalled for death and destruction. As a way forward, we believe one of the tasks of this interim government is to make sure our internally displaced people are given security guarantees, move out of the camps, and brought back home. This has to be supplemented by additional work on the reconstruction and resettlements of different sectors which are badly affected and destroyed by the war. In general, the problem of IDPs and refugees must be made a top priority and immediately solved. Reforming civil service and managing foreign relations well should also be part of the program of the interim government. Now that there is an agreement to curb violence and form an interim administration, the controversy over whether there was or was no coup is history. Our main interest and preoccupation as we speak, right, and think things over is how we can move forward to implement the agreement, stabilize our economy and national security so that we are able to render services to our people. Anything else is secondary. In conclusion, SCDP believes that the best thing and gift we can give to our people and international community as well is peace. We have to stop the ongoing and senseless war that is dehumanizing us in the eyes of our international and regional brethren. This war is unnecessary and therefore absolutely wrong. This must stop immediately. The role of Sudanese Defense Forces, SDF, is not to kill a brother or be killed by a brother in rank and vigilance, but to always protect and defend the Sudanese Christian state, especially from external aggressions. What happened in Ethiopia is an opportunity that must never be missed by the leaders of Sudan. The parties must focus and pin down the substantive negotiations issues of concern to all, instead of turning their guns against each other as well as against innocent people. They should turn them against war, against poverty, against illiteracy and disease. Killing and destructions are negative that will never turn into positive actions, nor bring one any memorable history. Let us move back from the brink and go back to the faith of reasons and construction. We can never build through distrust, fear, and destruction. The deadly mix of recrimination, hate speech, and revenge killings is most a boiling point. It is time to forgive each other through love, trust, and construction. Let us transform our bad habits, reform our civil service in order to build our nation in a deliberate, planned, and constructive manner. In order to achieve these things, as spelled out above, it may be helpful for us to consider some vital facts as summarized below. Sudanese Christian Democratic Party is to promote our federal system of government in our society as a form of governance. In the Sudan, adopt referendum all over the country, as this is the best democratic process that will help us reach a consensus on the name of the Sudan as an alternative name for the present Republic of South Sudan. Registration of Sudan will be done in line with the regulations and rules set out by the Constitution. Being tolerant and reasonable in expressing views, ideas, and opinions that represents SCDP philosophy. Being irrational and irrelevant contradicts our faith in Christian principles of truth, peace, and love for all. God is love, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God is in him. Registration by members and supporters of Sudan Party is to be done all over Sudan. All must note that preparation necessary begins with the self. Union is not a divider. We must bear in mind that SCDP is a unionist party, not a divider of our people on any tribal, ethnic, or other grounds. We pledge also to fight tribalism, corruption, and impunity. As faithful and believers in God, we consider and take each one as God's child. Although we are a Christian party, we respect other religions equally. as God's message of love and peace is the same, regardless of the means. Finally, SCDP envisage a situation which is likely to unfold in future, where separate kingdoms may come up, each of which may be autonomous, and which by consultation and agreement might lead to United Kingdom of Sudan. This is not food fetish. There is some evidence showing this may be the case at a later date. Viewed from these perspectives, I appeal to all my people today to understand the SCDP message of love, peace, and reconciliation. My message is that Sudan remains Sudan and a country for all and by all. This is the message I wish to share with you. Simple human message which is aimed at good of all. May God bless you all as brothers and sisters in our Lord Jesus Christ.